Hello everyone. If you look at the map of South America, you will see a country with a very strange shape. And that is Chile. It is not at all like its neighboring countries, neither is it wide, nor is it square or in a balanced shape. It is very long and thin. Now, this seems like a very interesting geographical fact, but there is a very deep story behind this shape of Chile. This is the story of war, geography, trade and survival. Because this shape of Chile is not only unique, but it also creates a lot of problems for it, whether it is natural disasters or security issues. Chile has to do a lot of work compared to other countries. In today's video, we will see why Chile has such a strange shape, and how this shape creates problems for Chile, and also how Chile is surviving despite bad geography. And there is also a very special lesson for all of us. If you like map animated videos related to focus on geography, then be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can keep getting notifications for new videos. The shape of Chile was not so strange from the beginning. Rather, the geography and history of Chile is very important behind this shape. Centuries ago, when there was no country called Chile, different tribes lived on this small land. In the north, Atacameños and Aymaras lived, while in the south, a warrior named Mapuche lived. Then in the 15th century, the Spanish Empire came here in search of gold. Now, there was no civilization like Mexico or Peru here. Rather, there was a harsh mountainous area and dry desert here. And there was such a warrior nation that was not ready to give up in any way. So it was very difficult to occupy the Spanish Empire here. Chile was a very small country when it was from the Spanish Empire in 1818. Which was spread to today's Santiago and Valparaiso. But then in the 1800s, Chile began to spread quickly to the north and south. When Chile tried to occupy the northern side, it had to fight Peru and Bolivia during the War of the Pacific. When this war ended, Chile occupied many areas, while Bolivia lost all its coastline, and it had become a landlocked country. This victory was very big for Chile, because not only did it have a lot of natural resources under its control, rather, its border went up to 500 kilometers, and so Chile became an even longer and thinner country. Similarly, here in the south, Chile also tried to control the area of Patagonia. This was the area where Argentina was also keeping a close eye. At many times, the war between the two countries was safe, and then finally, in the Boundary Treaty of 1881, Chile was given control of southern Patagonia and the Strait of Magellan. And in this way, at the beginning of the 20th century, Chile had become a very long country, which was spread from north to south for 4,200 kilometers. That is, as long as the whole of America is spread from one corner to the other. Chile had now become the longest country in the world. But due to its length, many problems also began to be created. Actually, the problem is not only its length, rather, Chile is completely stuck between two things. On one side is the Pacific Ocean, and on the other side is the Andes mountain range. On the western side, this ocean gives it a big coastline, but that also means that Chile cannot spread further this way. Similarly, on the eastern side is the Andes mountain range, which is present here like a wall. These Andes mountains are so high that in some places their height is more than 6,000 meters. This geography makes Chile like a narrow road. And in some places, the width of Chile is only 100 kilometers, which means less than many American cities. So imagine how a country can survive on such a geography, where the roads pass through the mountains. Laying a railway line should not be less than a torture, and where cities can only be spread onto sides, either north or south. If we talk about the challenges on the northern side, then here is Atacama Desert, which is the driest desert in the world. It is so dry that it has not rained a drop of rain here for many years, but still some people live here who work to mine the copper and lithium present here. If you come to the southern side, then the environment here is a total change. There is cold rain and wind here. There are glaciers and snow. It is almost impossible to make roads here. And that's why you can't drive from one place to another in Chile. Now, there are areas like Aysén and Magallanes. Here you can only go by boat, plane, or Argentina. And this is absolutely true. Even today, many people from Chile go to the southern parts of Chile through Argentina. That means they have to go to another country first to go to their own country. This is the reason that if a natural disaster occurs, the rescue operation here is delayed for several days. And similarly, If there is a big accident here or a fire, it is very difficult to get aid. So where the geography of Chile makes it very beautiful and unique, on the one hand. On the other hand, it also creates a lot of problems for it. But the Chilean government has never given up. It has found very smart ways to fight its geographical weaknesses. In fact, the biggest challenge for Chile is to keep its country connected from north to south. The government tried a lot to make roads, highways and airports from north to south, but the geography was such that many projects could not be completely completed. The biggest example of these attempts is Carretera Austral, also known as Route 7, Southern Highway. This project was started by the military dictator Augusto Pinochet in the 1970s, and the main reason behind this was not to connect the north and south together, but it was a fear that this disconnection would cause a rebellion. And making this road was not an easy task. It was spent through dense forests, dangerous mountains and stormy rivers. And today, even after 40 years, some parts of this highway are incomplete. Maintaining even the incomplete part is a very difficult task, because there are a lot of floods and earthquakes here. Now that we are talking about earthquakes, remember that Chile is one of the countries in the world where the most earthquakes occur, because Chile is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, which is one of the most seismically active regions on Earth. Thousands of earthquakes occur here every year. In 2010, an 8.8 magnitude earthquake hit Concepcion, killing hundreds of people, and the entire infrastructure of the city was destroyed. The biggest problem here is that whenever such natural disasters occur, the rescue effort is very difficult. For example, it is very difficult to send an ambulance from Santiago Hospital to other areas. And not only natural disasters, the connectivity in Chile is also the biggest issue in normal routine. That is, the flight time from the northern part of Chile to the southern part is about 5 hours. And by road, many people pass through Argentina and go to the southern side of Chile because there is no other way for them. Similarly, this geography also affects Chile's economy. Now, because Chile is so long and thin, the population pattern here is also very strange. Most people in Chile live in the central area. In fact, about 40% of Chile's population lives near its capital, Santiago. It's just like half as many Canadians live in Toronto, or half as many Germans live in Berlin. When there is so much centralization, you know that it is very harmful. This is why Chile's best hospitals, universities, roads, airports, and job markets are all around Santiago. On the other hand, if you come to cities like Arica in the north or Punta Arenas in the south, you will see a different picture here. There are no jobs, no investment, and no infrastructure here. If we talk about trade, Chile is very heavily dependent on exports, and its GDP comes from 30% exports. Chile is also the world's top producer in copper, lithium, salmon fish, and some fruits, but the problem is that it is very difficult to get these things from one place to another. Because of this long shape, it takes many days to get things from one place to another. Now, Chile has the most advanced seaports in Latin America, but it is also difficult to reach them for exports, and exporters sitting in different parts of the country have to transport their goods by road, rail, plane, or ship to the ports. This not only increases costs, but also takes a lot of time. Now, although Chile is one of the most stable and successful economies in South America today, its geography is a headache for it. And because of this, Chile has to work harder and plan more than other countries. Chile knows very well that its shape can never change. It can neither finish the Andes mountain range, nor can it remove the Pacific Ocean. So it has only one choice left, and that is to adapt. And Chile is doing this. Chile's government has invested a lot in high-speed internet and satellite connectivity. And this is why more than 90% of Chileans have internet access today. And this is why more than 90% of Chileans have internet access today. Similarly, drone deliveries, solar power microgrids, and small airports are being connected to remote areas. But Chile also knows that it cannot do everything alone, and that is why it is also collaborating with its neighbors, especially with Argentina. Because going through Argentina on the southern side is easier than going directly through Chile. Similarly, boats, bridges, and tunnels are being built in areas such as Megalanes and Tierra del Fuego in the south. So that these areas can be connected to each other. Similarly, Chile is also focusing a lot on the tech industry. Today, Chile is considered the most tech-savvy country in South America. In 2023, Santiago was included in the top startup hub cities of South America. Similarly, Chile is also investing in its renewable energy resources, especially in solar and wind farms, because it wants to take full advantage of its geography. So there is a lesson for all of us in the story of Chile. See you in the next video.